So as we're in our series in Philippians, if you have a Bible, you can turn there. It's in the New Testament. If you don't know where you're going, if you open halfway, you'll find Psalms. You go to the right, you'll enter Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. It's about halfway through. And if you don't know where you're going, there's a table of contents in the front. Or if you have a smartphone, you can go to the YouVersion Bible app and go to Philippians 2. We're going to be in a section of Scripture that really doesn't get a whole lot of limelight or where your life verses come from. And you can kind of say, well, then why are we camping there? Part of it is it's good for us. All of Scripture, as 2 Timothy 3 says, is God-breathed and useful for teaching, rebuking, and training in righteousness so that the man of God is equipped for every good work. And part of this is if you read through the New Testament, the Apostle Paul, who wrote the letter to Philippians, he wrote most of the New Testament. What we read today reads like a bit of a travelogue. And you would normally find this kind of at the end of Paul's letter, but he has this in the middle, which sometimes if you've been like me and you read through the Scripture, you kind of skim sometimes parts where you're like, I don't quite get it. I don't quite understand. I'm just going to keep moving right along. And that is fine, but when you do that at times, you can sometimes miss the gems. So when you read in the Old Testament, the book of Leviticus, it's a lot of blood and guts because it's a lot of sacrifices, but there is hidden gems in there. Same with Deuteronomy. There's pieces and parts. And so there's times where it's worthwhile to just slow down and examine why would he put the travelogue here instead of the end? And he has it with great intention. And part of as I studied this text, that there's a lot of ways I wanted to go with it. And so I decided let's just go this way of faithfulness isn't glamorous. And so look, I'm even wearing a shirt that we have that says this, that Adrian and Shelly got to work. So this is a promo shameless of why. Because this phrase I want to kind of hammer in your heads of when we look at living our lives for Christ, we tend to look at the extraordinary or these magnificent mountaintop feats, and most of the Christian life is unglamorous. That it's just consistency. It's a faithfulness of day in, day out, sometimes drudgery. And so Paul has a very important part of putting verses 19 through the end of chapter 2, 30 right here. Because in chapter 1, verse 27, he says, let your manner of life be worthy of the gospel. In essence, how you live, how you think, how you talk should reflect the gospel. And then he goes a few verses further, for it has been granted that you should take of Christ, that you should not only believe in him, but also suffer. That as you have a relationship, you're going to go through trials and hardships, and that fine-tunes you, that builds some character pieces. And then he goes on to give the example of chapter 2. So if that is true, if there's any encouragement, then have the mindset of Christ. Dive into humility. Have this gospel sense humility of not thinking less of yourself, but just less about yourself. And you have the mindset of Christ, and he explains what Christ's mindset is. And he says, look, you've done really well in my presence, but now that I'm not present, will you continue to work out your salvation? It's kind of when you have the teacher in the room, everyone's on their best behavior. But when you're in a classroom and you're the substitute, boy, those kids like to switch seats so fast. And you call names like, yeah, is that where you're supposed to sit? Oh, yeah, that's where I'm supposed to sit. And those of you that are teachers that have subbed know when it's sub day, it's like, oh, this is going to be a fun day. Because what can you get away with? And Paul is imploring, now that I'm not there and you don't have the accountability, continue. Work this out, practice. And we looked last week, and I'm a tennis player through high school we would continue to do the same things over and over. Why? Muscle memory. So that you naturally do, when you're in the moment in the game, you just start to react because that's what you've been trained for. And so we get into this next section, and it's more of the examples. We've talked theoretical in a sense, Paul has said. He goes, now let me give you two people who you can look to, who you can emulate. Because a lot of the Christian life is not so much taught as it is caught. Who are you watching? Who are you engaging with? That's what it will tell of your story. And so before we dive really in, our character and gifting and willingness, these are kind of three components that matter as we go in. Our character matters because our character is who we are and who we're being formed into. Gifting is you have natural abilities, and as you come to know Christ, you have a more spiritual gifts that will come out. And it's so your character is who you are, who God's forming you into, your integrity, all these things. But then your gifting is what are you good at? And then finally, all three have to go together. Your willingness to use your gifts for the good of the gospel, to the good of the church. And so think of it as an individual. And Paul says in verse 19, I hope in the Lord Jesus to send Timothy to you soon so that I too may be cheered by the news of you. And he's going to go on to talk about character, but Paul is wanting to encourage the church, but also give direction. He's talked about this is the big picture overarching. Now this is what you should do. Now let me talk about two people who you should emulate and look to. Their character, their gifting, and their willingness all comes into play. There's some tensions in the Philippian church because part of it is there's a letter written back. There's questions as Epaphroditus. We're going to look at him. He comes to Paul to serve and bring a financial gift, and he would have questions because he knows he's going to go back at some point. And so Paul is responding to some of those questions, writing a letter of encouragement. And Paul is not naive to think that where are you going to learn the Christian life from? Who really is teaching you that Christian life? And so the phrase faithfulness isn't glamorous also comes into Christian living, where faithful Christian living doesn't always look extraordinary. It's this concept that you're not going to do the greatest things all the time. Because if you did, you think that's like the end, and anything minor or insignificant would be, it's not good enough. But those mountaintop extraordinary moments, those are rare in life. Even if you're a missionary, you maybe see things differently, but there's still the faithful drudgery, mundane of everyday life. Then I liked what Francis Chen had to write in his commentary on this section. He writes this: we are drawn to the dramatic. The church gets suckered into the extraordinary as a product of culture, in which everything gets sensationalized around us. Even the nightly weather report is often sensationalized. And as a result, our addiction to sensationalism, we get bored easily. I mean, you have kids around, they get bored with things you don't think. And as a result, we get bored easily, we can't sit still to study or listen. And we tend to downplay faithfulness and the faithful, normal Christian service that honors Jesus. God normally meets us and uses us in the ordinaries of life. And he gives us illustration, which I think is brilliant. To give my life for Christ appears glorious, right? I'm going to yield my life to Christ. God, take me where you want. You read the book of Isaiah in the Old Testament, he says, here am I, Jesus, God, send me. And God doesn't send them. It's kind of neat. I'm willing, and yet God says, okay, well, just do the next thing. The next right thing. And he goes further with this: to pour myself out for others, to pay the ultimate price for martyrdom, I'll do it. I'm ready, Lord, to go out in a blaze of glory. We think giving our all to the Lord is like taking a $1,000 bill and laying it on the table. Here's my life, Lord. I'm going to give it all to you. But the reality for most of us is that he sends us to the bank and has us cash in the $1,000 for quarters. They don't go very far these days. We go through life putting out 25 cents here, 50 cents there, listen to the neighbor kid's troubles instead of saying get lost. We go to a committee meeting. We give a cup of water to a shaky old man in a nursing home. Usually giving our life to Christ isn't glorious. It's done in all those little acts of love, 25 cents at a time. It would be easy to go out in a flash of glory. It's harder to live the Christian life little by little over the long haul. And that's what he's going to drive at in this text. And that's what Paul's life has been. We can look at him and say, wow, he's done all these things. But I bet you if you walked with Paul day in, day out, people left him at times. It probably wasn't glamorous. We get to see the highlight reel from the letters of his life and walking through it. But a lot of the life that we live following Christ is mundane at times. One person said, joy, think of it this way: Jesus, others, self. Again, Christian character a lot of times is caught over taught. You are taught things, but then you need to let it simmer up here and before it gets into your heart and before you start to live it out. And again, most of the time when we think of the who's who, we think of these glamorous stories. But I would ask you the question, do you know who JR is, Dr. Blumenstock, Dr. Hoffitz, Peggy May? You probably have no idea who those people are. Yet those were people who played a big pivotal role in my life who were just faithful. Peggy May stood up and said, I'll teach Sunday school. And guess how many times she taught yours truly only in Sunday school? Probably a dozen times or so. And then I memorized enough scripture. We get to go to Chuck E. Cheese, and that was awesome. you had Russ, who dealt with me through my middle school years, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And it's like, God bless him because he dealt with that version of me. And he dealt with teenagers on a volunteer basis to just show up on a Sunday evening. And we'd have what we called the Becky games, which was his wife's games, which were no fun. Like they were just, by 8th grade, you're like, come on, can't we get any better? And we would joke about it. But he just showed up week after week to put up with 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th graders. And there was 11th and 12th, but they got less and less as you got older. And then you had JR, who took an interest in me where I was questioning again my faith. He just started to just ask questions and would take me around. Hey, Nick, why don't you come here with me? Hey, Nick, why don't you come over to the nursing home with me? Hey, Nick, why don't you? And just brought me along. Didn't expect the world of me, didn't expect me to quote different things, but just took a vested interest and modeled who is Christ. John Hartman, who I served with up in New York, you would never know him. He would never stick out in a crowd. And yet he would model to me the grace of going on a hospital visit and just sitting and listening and just being a presence. And these men and women who invested in me, their character and gifting, some would say they didn't have the gift to deal with kids or with teenagers, but they had a willingness in their spirit to say, God, use me. And because they were willing to be used, God set them ablaze for glory and allowed them to impact, and who knows where the rest of my middle school and where we've ended up. But the impact then that Russ has had, that JR has had, that Hoffitz has had in college, make me the pastor and the person I am today, who modeled grace in their marriages, who let me see when I'm a husband one day, what should that look like? Like JR, who spent the night on the couch for several weeks when he said he quit his one job to take the job over at our church. And I'm like, I'm thankful he did that, but he didn't talk to his wife first. And so then he realized I should probably do that first. And I'm like, lesson learned. Talk. But it's these men and women, and that's where he gets to hear, where Paul gets into Philippians. He's talked about the gospel. Live in a manner worthy of the gospel. You're going to suffer. Have the mindset of Christ. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but consider others. Look at others. And then he gets into here. I hope then in the Lord Jesus to send Timothy soon. And then we start to see what a long obedience in the same direction begins to look like. Again, faithfulness isn't glamorous. It's just that. It's a long obedience, being in the same direction. The best things in life are in the same direction, chasing. Where do you find yourself presently today? Because a series of decisions you made probably long ago, you're reaping the benefits of that, whether good or bad. There was decisions that were made and you find yourself here. And I don't know the week that you've had. My week wasn't the greatest this last week. There was lots of ups and downs and relationship stuff and personal stuff with family, but also friends that came about. And I wondered, and I thought, even with the text here, how do you get through things like that unless you have Christian men and women to model, to emulate, to watch as they went through struggles, as they went through hardships? What did they do? How did they respond? They had a long obedience because when it's easy, day in, day out, it's hard in the moments. And so when you train up and you equipped, then when those moments come, you can weather through them because you have an anchor, because you have a foundation. And so he starts in verse 20 through 24. I'm going to read this. He says, we're talking about Timothy here. He says, I hope to send him soon. And part of that is Paul's on trial. He's on house arrest, remember, and so he's waiting to see Caesar. Timothy's with him in Rome, and he's probably part of the defense team. And so he doesn't know when is he going to send Tim, but Tim is going to be the forerunner for Paul if he's able to make it. For I have, he says in verse 20, no one like him who will be genuinely concerned for your welfare. For they all seek their own interest, not those of Jesus Christ. But you know Timothy's a proven worth. How as a son with a father he has served with me in the gospel. I hope therefore to send him just as soon as I see how it will go with me. And I trust in the Lord that shortly I myself will come also. And what you notice, two parts of Timothy is that his compassion and his companionship. These are two distinct things that he has as his character. Compassion and companionship, that he has stuck with Paul through thick and thin. And Guzik writes that when Paul sent Timothy, he sent his best. A man who showed a pastor's heart and had greater concern for the sheep than himself. And Timothy, this companionship, this compassion that he had, you see it on display. Paul says in verse 20, I have no one like him who is genuinely concerned for your welfare. That's Philippians 2, 3 through 4. doing nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility consider others better than yourselves. And he says he genuinely is like that. It's not that he's got this ulterior motive, that he looks to get in and then leverage that. No, he has a genuine concern, as a pastor would, for you, for others. And you know, he says in verse 22, but you know Timothy's proven worth, how as a son with a father, he has served with me in the gospel. In one way, this is also a character reference, that he's giving the character reference, and he's saying, if you were born in this time period, because when Jesus walked the earth, and even in the New Testament period, you didn't move very far. You didn't have the transportation we have. You had ships, yes, you had donkeys, and most of the time you traveled on foot. So the 20 square miles you grew up in or whatever, 10, you kind of stayed there. And whenever dad did, that is more than likely what you did. If dad was a shepherd, guess what your livelihood would be? A shepherd. If he was a baker, you were probably going to be a baker. If you were a tanner, that was what you were going to be. And our last names in some ways will sometimes reflect some of those from bygone eras. You didn't move states. You didn't move hundreds of miles away unless you joined the legions, and that was not the ideal for anybody more often than not. You would learn from your father. My daughter just this last week asked me, hey, Dad, when does it take your daughter to work day? And I thought about that, and I'm like, I don't know what I would get done, if anything. I have a 6-year-old who would just, all right, Dad, what's next? And we got to read. Okay, Dad, we did that. What's next? Well, we got to spend a little longer. Well, Dad, I'm ready to go on to what's next. I just know what Taylor would do. But that's what would happen, is you would follow your father, and he would work with you and slowly release more and more responsibility and expectation on you. When Jesus found his disciples, Peter, James, where were they doing? They're fishing. Their dad was there. They left all of that, which is significant, to follow Jesus. And here, likewise, he's saying, Timothy is like that to me. He has walked with me. He's seen me plant churches. He's seen me preach. He's seen me teach. He's seen me care. He's seen me be a tent maker. I have no one like him, because he emulated the gospel. He emulated what a pastor should be. And therefore, Timothy starts to live like Paul. So when you saw Timothy, you were seeing Paul. Likewise, when you see me, you're seeing a bit of JR, a little bit of Dr. Blumenstock, my father, Hoffett, all these people who have imprinted the Christian walk. And he's saying, here, Timothy, I have no one like him. In a sense, he's calling him his son, like that, again, that charge. I've invested, I have poured into this man. You can trust him. He has compassion, and he's a companion. He will walk with you, not just tell you what to do, but walk with you through it. Verse 24, and I trust in the Lord that shortly I myself will come also. I'm hoping to get to you. I don't know when, I don't know what's going to happen here, but I'm hoping to come as well. Again, you get into the next part of verse 25. Now we get into Epaphroditus. In verse 25, it reads, I have thought it necessary to send to you Epaphroditus, my brother and fellow worker and fellow soldier, and your messenger and minister to my need. Now, here's the funny thing with Epaphroditus. He's from the church in Philippi. He has gone to Paul in Rome. They've heard about Paul's imprisonment. And so they send Epaphroditus, probably with several people, because he brought money to Paul. And Paul set that into motion earlier on, where he said, if you're bringing a fund, bring more than one person. Why? Because of accountability. And, one person bringing the money, it's just a weight of perception is reality. And so they have sent Epaphroditus. He's now sending him back, and he's sending him back kind of a little early. But he describes Epaphroditus in one way: co-worker, fellow soldier, messenger, and minister, and you can put in parentheses minister of brother. And the brother speaks to a relationship enjoyed, the worker speaks of a job done, and the soldier speaks of battles fought. So he's describing Epaphroditus as he's coming back, who would have carried this letter to the church in Philippi, and kind of probably a little bit meek, and kind of as he walks into the church and around people like, why are you back so early? But there's something that has taken place on his journeys to Rome. And it says in the next verses, 26, for he has been longing for you all and has been distressed because you heard that he was ill. Indeed, he was ill, near to death, but God had mercy on him, and not only him, but on me also, lest I should have to sorrow upon sorrow. And so again, I like what Francis Chen has to say about this at this part. Again, faithful Christian living, he writes, involves pouring out our lives little by little in practical acts of service over the long haul. It involves giving our quarters every day, having a lonely person over for dinner, babysitting for a single mom, inviting some international students over, doing foster care, praying for a friend, helping someone move, visiting those in the hospital, and so on. This passage in Philippians 2 involves a guy delivering a gift to Paul and getting sick along the way. That's what he did. He delivered a gift and got sick on the way. And not only that, he's not the elder. He's not the pastor. Not even the deacon. He's the regular guy who volunteered, who's willing to go, traveled with a couple of people as well. And as he's traveling to Rome, he gets sick on the way. Sick enough that Paul says, because again, coming back, your questions are from this saying of saying, oh, he was sick. Was he of any use to Paul? Is he just like a leech in a sense? Did he just take more resources and feeling bad that we sent a guy who got sick? And yet, Paul said, no, he's worthy. That he's these things. He was a co-worker. There's a fellow soldier and a messenger, your messenger and a minister, a brother. He got sick and he says it wasn't just a little sick. He almost died. He caught something, whatever it was, but continued to make the journey. And he says in the next verse, indeed he was ill and God had mercy. I am more eager to send him therefore that you may rejoice in seeing him again, that I may be less anxious. His concern, Epaphroditus, was I got sick along the route and somewhere someone crossed and reported back. They only know that I'm severely sick. They have no idea if I got better or if I'm dead. Does he have a wife? Does he have children? All those questions come to my mind, and he has no FaceTime, no email, no quick phone call to tell them, hey, I made it. Hey, I'm okay. There's a hospital. No, he continued on his journey, arrived sick near death, and then his concern isn't even for himself. It's, hey, they're going to freak out. I just need to tell them, and my concern is for them. And that's what Paul is saying. Look, he was sick enough to death, but his concern wasn't even for himself. It was for you. For the body. He put his needs on second and cared more for those of the other. Again, in verse 29, Paul goes further, I am more eager again to send him that he may be less anxious. So receive him in the Lord with all joy and honor such men. Now, this phrase, again, men is universal, women as well would connect. It's not just men. But he's saying this is who you want to honor. These are the types of people that you want to welcome into the church body. These are the types of people you want to emulate your walk with Christ after. Carson writes, in short, emulate those who have proved themselves in hardship, not in the untested upstart and self-preening peacock, which I like. I'm like, that's pretty good wording there of, look at me. He's like, no, don't go, don't. It's the person who is consistent, who is showing a faithfulness day in, day out. Is there mountaintops? Absolutely. There's more and more. Again, I think there was more to it where he says, serving Jesus, he says, Chan writes, serving Jesus and others will cost you, but it's worth it. The call to put the needs of others above your own will mean that you might have to change your schedule this week. Done that. You might have to travel somewhere. Been there. You might get sick along your journey and have to minister in weakness. You might have to open your home or your wallet. You might encounter great conflict or persecution. If you're going to follow after these model servants who are following Jesus, then we must acknowledge that the Christian life involves sacrifice, varying degrees of sacrifice, but it's worth it because we get to bless others and because it glorifies Jesus, who notices every small act of obedience and will reward it. You emulate those people who you follow. And I would say again, show me your friends, I'll show you who you're becoming. We tend to think, oh, I'll pollute these people over here for the gospel. It's like, you do, but guess what? There's reverse pollution coming back. That's why when couples are getting married, I'm like, are you both believers? And if you both are believers, wonderful. If one is, one isn't, well, guess what? You're not evangel dating. You want to be of the same mindset because you're going to pollute one way and the other, and you're going to be disjointed. And likewise here, he's saying, receive these men, honor these types of people. For he nearly died for the work of Christ, risking his life to complete what was lacking in your service to me. And that's saying, don't feel embarrassed or bad that he's back early. In fact, he did a wonderful thing. He was an ambassador. He was an encouragement. He was a co-worker, co-laborer. In some ways, his sickness is referred to less about, and Lightfoot writes, it seems plain that Epaphroditus' illness was a consequence not of persecution, but of overexertion. He was so going and going that he overexerted, ran into something and had to slow down. Likewise here, for he nearly died for the work of Christ. Depending on how your translations read, when it says he risked his life here, mine says that for he nearly died for the work of Christ, risking his life. In other translations, it'll say having no regard for his life. In the Greek phrase, that phrase in particular uses what's called a gambler's word. So think of gambling, legitimate gambling. That meant to risk everything on the roll of the dice. Paul wrote that for the sake of Christ, Epaphroditus was willing to gamble everything for Christ. In the days of the early church, there was an association of men and women who called themselves the gamblers, taken from this same ancient Greek word, used not in regard of his own life. It was their aim to visit the prisoners, the sick, and especially those who were ill with dangerous and infectious diseases. Often when a plague struck a city, the heathen threw the dead bodies into the streets and fled in terror. But the gamblers buried the dead. They helped the sick the best they could, and so risked their lives to show the love of Jesus. In Carthage, which is in northern Africa, they persecuted the Christians, and under Cyprian, he's again a church father back in the ancient days, they would persecute. Well, there was a plague, and everyone was leaving the cities, and Cyprian, rallied the believers, the same city that persecuted and mocked them and tormented them, and they went in. And they visited people, and they said, find the people who are hurting, find the people, help them. And they rallied to them. It doesn't get a lot of airtime. It's not extraordinary. It's just doing those little things. But in those moments where all of a sudden it comes into play, they just react accordingly. And that's what Paul is saying here. He's saying, look, I'm not present with you, so work it out. Work out your salvation. Now emulate. Here's two men. This is what you know them. Live like them. Emulate them in their walk with Christ. Honor men and women like this. So my question this morning for you is, what are you learning from the believers in your life? Your friends. Or maybe they're not, your friends aren't believers. What are you learning? Think about it for a minute. And then I'd also ask the question, which I'm the pastor here, so what are you learning from your church? And you think about it, is it good, bad, ugly? I mean, I've been around church for my whole life. I'm a pastor's kid, and I've seen the good, I've seen the bad, I've seen it all. But it's a question to ask ourselves. What are you learning from the believers in your life? What are they teaching you? Because you're going to catch how to walk with Christ more than you all taught. The teaching kind of makes sense, but it's theoretical until you actually put it into practice. It's like when people go to seminary, which I've been to, but then if you go straight from undergrad Bible school to seminary, you come out, you've got this wow view, and then you start to go in, and like one guy I knew, started his first pastor, went from undergrad to Bible school, spent 2.5 hours in the book of Revelation, first sermon in. Most of you were like, why would he do that? And I asked, why did he do that? And it's not a bad thing, it's growing. It's this excitement, but it's like theoretical. How does that live out? You know all this. Where are your people at? You got to grow them up. But also, it's the question of the church. What are you learning from those in your life who talk about Christ? What is their life like? Same with the church. We preach faithfulness isn't glamorous. We emphasize groups. Again, what are you learning? And are you able to put that into practice? And Paul is saying here, these are two men. This is what that looks like. Epaphroditus went and got sick and then went home early, but he was an encouragement. He was faithful. And Timothy doesn't get a whole lot of glory. You read 1st and 2nd Timothy, you see that he's got fear. He has anxiety. You have fear, you have anxiety. Well, so did Tim. And yet he was willing to be used. And that's what God is looking at for us is, I'm molding your character. You have this gifting. Are you willing to be used? And half the time the question is, will you? And God says, and if you say yes, God says, wonderful. It's not going to maybe look how you think. Or sometimes it's just being willing to say yes. And God says, wonderful, I needed to get you there. You're not going to have to maybe do that, whatever that is. But it's just that willing heart to say, God, use me however you so see fit. And more often than not, it's in the mundane little 25 cent, 50 cent things. I'm just asking, how's your day going? It's like Pastor Randy, I love that analogy with the stoplight of just going to the yellow lights or the red lights and just, who are you? How'd you get here? Can we get coffee? Or you know a need and you just say, hey, why don't you come over? Why don't we just walk together? And that's what I had to do this last week with a good friend of mine who's going through some other personal of just, I have a lot of things to say that I would love to give to him. Hey, you're not ready to hear any of it. The best thing I can do is really just show up and just be present. And a lot of life is like that. Show up, be consistent, be faithful, be like Timothy, have the companionship and compassion, Epaphroditus of a brother, a worker, a soldier. Use your words, those matter. Use your actions, it matters. And again, my question to leave you is, what are you learning from those in your life? What are you learning from the church? And are you putting that then, I'm learning this, great. Are you applying it? Are you living it out as Christ has called us to do? Let's pray this morning. God, we are grateful to be here in your name, knowing you see us, you hear us, and you are for us. And God, wherever we find ourselves, whatever week we've had, we know that you are walking with us through thick and through thin, through the good and the bad. So Lord, as we look at Timothy, his compassion and companionship to Paul, as you pull him alongside to be that companion, to encourage Paul on his way, for Paul to send him out, for Timothy to be willing. For Epaphroditus, Lord, to just say, here I am, I'll go. I'll take the money to Paul. I'll be there and be willing to do whatever, Lord, you put on our hearts, that we would have that willingness. And Jesus, that we look for people who are living out their faith, and just to put ourselves around even them, to maybe ask questions or maybe just say, how do we do this? How do we live out this faith in a God-honoring, people-edifying, kingdom-advancing way? Because it's not about us, Jesus. It is about your kingdom. It is about the unity of your church and the joy that we have in knowing you. May we represent you well. We ask in Jesus' name. Amen.